Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Devin Thomas back with another episode of Unscripted. How's everyone doing? It's been a minute. It's been a little over a week since I shot a pod. It's been tough making these during the move. It's been just exhausting moving the whole process of it. And the thing that sucks is every time I do this, I have to like build up the set and take it back down. I know I've been doing these new green screens. Would love to hear feedback, whatever you guys fucking think about them. I've been having fun with it. But it's been the easiest way to make it, but it's also been like tough to make it because every time I go to shoot the pod, I have to set everything up again. It's not like when I had my studio built out in the garage, it was there. Like I literally had it like marked on the ground where to set the tripod. All I had to do was pop the camera on the tripod and boom. And the camera was usually out. It was always built. I'd honestly just keep it on the tripod. So all I had to do was pick up the whole camera rig, bring it out there, and then pretty much turn on the lights. The lights were built up. Like it was like full on studio. So it was so easy to go out there and just turn it on. And now with the open houses and like most of the gear packed, like it's been a bitch. But besides the point, here we are. And I honestly was like missing doing the podcast. I even looked at my phone because I usually keep track through YouTube. I mean, it's not like impossible to keep track. It's every 7 days, right? But like I saw on my YouTube, it said like day 7. I'm like, has it been fucking 7 days since the last one? Like I actually forgot. And it's just been, like I said, it's been a long week. It's been busy with everything that's been happening. But yeah, it's been a good week though. Gotten actually a lot done. I've had like some exciting stuff with film going on. So we'll get into that. But yeah, just on that note, like the production of the podcast has been a little stuttered in terms of being able to do it so efficiently and just easily. But I mean, once it's all set up, it's not fucking hard. It's a little bit of a bitch, like I said, to set it up every week. Anyways, I digress. What's been going on this week? Been out and about, busy, focusing on wellness, just walking a lot, trying to eat super healthy, just try and fucking, focus on me. Stevie and I have been hitting the walks hard. He's been feeling a lot better. His health update. I know these are fewer and fewer now these days, which is a good thing, but he's better. Still has some like, I wouldn't even call it acute pain, like muscular pain, where it's just like physical pain that it's like, some days he's fine, and some days he's like, dude, it's like cripplingly fucking painful. And it's just, he's irritated that it hasn't gone away, but it does seem like he's almost out of the woods. There's a fucking silver lining, in the near future that he can cling on to from what it sounds like. And also we got some filming done this week, which is like not something we've been able to do because of his pain. And like, I think like the fact he could do that, I'm like, I think you're getting a lot better than you think. So we'll get into that though. We filmed a cool little short. We're still editing it. You know what? We'll talk about that. I mean, aside from just like the routine, going out, fucking living a little alternatively. I know last week the episode was new normal, and it's like the new normal has also started to take its own how do I say this? Its own metamorphosis. It's becoming other like nuances are happening in the new normal. The new normal was like, oh, we're going out and getting like this or that. This past week, it's been like fucking In and Out runs and Papa Murphy's. It's been like, like our diet has been alternate as well. Like it's not what we'd usually get. So the new normal has been trying a lot of new things. We even went to a different coffee shop, and like, it was a shop I'd been to in the past. And I told Stevie, I was like, I don't know, like the coffee's never that good. And like, you know what? It was actually pretty good. It was better than I thought it would be. And it's like, I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta switch it up. I become like, I'm not like brand loyal, but I become like a creature of habit. Like I like that spot. I like this, the thing they serve there, or whatever. And it's like, it's funny because those are the things that I think like this move has broken those patterns. I'm kind of like, well, fuck, like I'm doing so many different things, which is a positive. I think it's good to do new shit and like not get stuck in a rut in terms of like the Groundhog Day effect where every day feels the same. Like that can get really monotonous and it can get boring. And like, but then again, there is like something very nice about routine and being able to have the routine. And like, I'm like 50-50. Look, I miss my routine. Part of this when it started felt like almost like a vacation. Like, like when you go to a hotel when your house is being like fumigated or something, that's almost how it felt like when we first put the house on the market. And it's only been like a couple weeks, not even, but it felt like, oh, like we're going over to like my parents' house to shower. We're doing things differently. And now it's like, the new normal is kind of like making me miss the routine as much as it was nice to have a break. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into the new place and just having routine, having a fucking, a grind again. Cause it's been every day is like I said, it's every day's been a little different, And for better or worse, I think there's good and there's like some annoying fucking parts about it. But anyways, been going out, doing that, the whole fucking new normal grind. And then this week, Stevie was feeling up to it. I wrote a few things this week. I did a draft on Slugger where it needed it. And honestly, like even reading it now, I'm like, it's always like, hindsight's 2020. I'm like, oh, like I see where this needs to be changed. And I started doing that. And I did a fourth draft, and I'll definitely do a fifth. But the fourth draft was light. I really focused on like more of the intro of the movie and stuff. But for all intents and purposes, it was a very like good fourth draft for correcting the shit that needed to be corrected. And then lately, I've been just really in like I talked about it on here. I thought Aliens would be hot this summer because of Disclosure Day. There's also been all the Trump administration like releases of these UAP files. And take it for what it is. It's been interesting. It's been interesting to watch the news coverage on it too. And like what's really been interesting is the legitimacy that these releases have given to like the alien believer community, if you want to call it that, or people that just they're not denying it at all. They're like, there's definitely other life out there. And that's something that I think is like good for that culture. It's also crazy to see how mainstream that culture has gotten. I think it's always grown in popularity, but to see like fucking legitimate news anchors talking about how there is possibly extraterrestrial life. Like the one I keep saying is that they've identified 4 types of aliens or whatever. And like, look, a lot of this could be part of a greater distraction to get everybody to look the other way on all the crazy shit happening in the world. Maybe. But there is obviously, these are, legit documents. And like, if you look at it from like a legitimate point of view, it's like, well, fuck, like, it's like you either already know there's life here or, that there's other life out there. It seems like they've either visited or there's been communications. Also, I think like we look at like the alien thing from like our point of view, like from today, like, well, there's no way they visited back in the day because the fucking technology was so bad. It's like, who's to say they didn't come fucking a million years ago? We have no idea. We have no fucking idea. And I think that's what makes one, the UFO and UAP, whatever you want to call it, releases so exciting. And two, it's just like it's a fucking question that puzzles all of mankind, probably forever, and it always will, until possibly we find out there's really aliens, which would be fucking crazy. And I can see Trump wanting to do that. I can see him wanting to be the guy who's like, there's aliens. We got aliens here, let me get a picture with them. Like it sounds ridiculous, but if anyone would, I think it'd be Donnie Trump. Yeah, but all this alien talk and all this conjecture about what's going on in like the universe and shit has like kind of led me to be just like really on the alien hype. Not just lately. I've always liked the idea of aliens. I've always been more of like one of those people that's like not an objectionist. Like I've always been like, there's got to be other life out there. Like it's too vast of a universe not to. But that being said, I just, I've been feeling the alien fever, I guess, and wrote a little science fiction short, and we went out and shot it. And it was funny because Stevie wasn't feeling like 100%. He like kind of read the script, but he's like, hey, just like send it to me. I sent him the outline, the pitch, and he's like, okay, like I get what the fucking show is or the movie is. And then it was kind of like I don't know, not late, but it was like maybe 6:00. The sun was kind of starting to set, and he's like, hey, let's go out and shoot this thing. I'm like, fuck, like it's really impromptu, but I'm like, you know what? If he feels up to it, let's just go fucking do it. And we just run and gun, did what we do best. And I won't ruin this short because I'm probably going to release it. Still editing it. Also on this one, like the production was easy. Took our time with it to some extent. There wasn't like a sense. The only thing that was really brushing us was a sense of like, we started shooting a little late, so the sun was going down. But other than that, the production was fun. It was smooth. A little cold for me. I had to stand out in the fucking wind. Stevie had to drive the car and like come back to where we were like parked a few times. My fucking hand was on the camera, and like I just like one of my hands, I just couldn't move it because I was holding the camera the whole time, and it was like fucking frozen over. That sucked. But other than that, smooth production. And the editing process has been really fun. Look, with like Peninsula Nights, like there was a huge sense of urgency when we edited it. Not that it needs anything. It's just like we were just blowing through the edit because we were like everything was on the line for us. We were like really like, hey, this is like a do or die kind of situation, and it felt like that, and it was a good intensity to have. But this one, we've just been taking our time with it, and it's been a lot of fun. Like I've actually like it's given me something during this time of the move to like work on and look forward to. the quote, idle hands are the devil's playground. That's true. But like, I also think that just like when you're not working on something, like it's not so much your hands as much as your mind. Like your mental needs to be like, fulfilled with something. I like to just reach even little goals. Like if I'm editing something, especially when I'm editing this movie right now, I'll leave and I'll be out and I'll be thinking like, I gotta get back. I gotta get back to do that cut or do this edit. And that is like, I love that preoccupation that keeps you wanting to keep moving forward. Like moving forward is so important. And if you can't find something that gives you like the purpose or the drive to move forward, that's when you get the idle hands. That's when like the devil's playground, whatever you want to call it, gets into your mind and lets you just fucking like, succumb to those worst things in life, like fucking being like a sloth or like gluttony or whatever. Like boredom is bad. And if you're bored, it's not good. You should be occupied. You should have something to do. And for me, it's film. And when I'm doing the fucking film shit and I'm editing, it feels right. It feels good. And like, I also realize editing this thing, that's more of a philosophical note on editing and purpose. But when I'm editing now, it's just like there's so much like I wouldn't call it heavy-handed, but like I obviously understand what I want. Like the vision is so much easier to craft at this point. And like in Stevie too, like we've been piecing it on the edit. I did like the assembly and he understands what I want. And he also acted in it. So like of course, like after acting in it, he gets the story, he understands it fully. So we're working on the edit together and like there's a special effects sequence that like, you know, I love special effects. It's been something I've been more like never afraid of, but I've always been like, well, that's like a huge technical gap that really keeps you from being like a top dog or like a player in terms of like the bigger studio system or something. But if you can do effects on a budget and showcase that in like a film, that often gets you a lot of attention. It also gets you a lot of like, maybe early acclaim before you've really proved yourself in like a narrative sense. So I've always loved effects either way. And it's been really fun on this one to actually build the fucking effects. And like, I've been watching a lot of Star Wars too, which isn't as I mean, there's aliens in it, but I don't consider those like alien driven shows. Like that's much like X Files or something. But man, just watching Star Wars and seeing like the editing and stuff, it reminded me of like why I think people like George Lucas, why I was so drawn to it. It's not just the like movies, it's the filmmaking. And his, you know, we were watching like Phantom Menace, and even Christine said she's like, "God, these effects are so fucking good." And it's like, yeah, it's like this guy was like a proprietor. He was so ahead of the fucking like system, doing a lot of this shit independently. Starting ILM, having all these assets to actually be able to produce the imagery and CGI he wanted. And like when you think of that, that is like why he's like I think so popular and so known, and why he's been a big inspiration even to Stevie and I, is simply his like his not just his vision, but his ability to accomplish the vision through creating the effects, even if it means like being the first one to do it. We're not doing that, but we are having a lot of fun doing the effects and like creating it and like crafting it to the best of our ability. And also like, yeah, I kind of had this, I have the book here. Maybe I'll read another one of the affirmations at the end, but like somewhere in there, I have the affirmation about like, every project brings me closer, I get experience every time I'm misquoting myself, but that's exactly how this feels. Like this one, like I don't think it's a magnum opus, but like it's pretty fucking good. And honestly, like objectively speaking, even Christine said she like might be some of your best filmmaking because I'm the furthest into my filmmaking journey I've ever been. Same with Stevie, same with Christine. Christine also did work on this project. She did makeup for an effect in it, and it was like incredible makeup work. Like I told her what I wanted, she understood immediately, and, like, it just shows you, like, she's not just an actress or a writer, she's also somebody who understands, like, other elements of it because it's all for the love of the game. Like, I know so much about all aspects of filmmaking. Makeup is not one of my strong suits, but, like, I was looking up videos, I'm like, "Hey, if I have to learn this shit to accomplish what I need to accomplish, that's what I'm gonna do." And I think that's kind of, like, the filmmaker, like, mindset or even the filmmaker fucking attitude is to be self-reliant and to be an autodidact and continue learning through the process through sheer need. And need and desire come together heavily during filmmaking. You need to learn something because your desire is to make the film, and you might not learn everything. You could be a master of few, maybe not a jack of all trades, master of none, but and everybody finds their lane in filmmaking. But it's when the need and desire comes together, it's when it really drives you to like learn and get outside of your comfort zone and find the find the way on filmmaking on how to actually create what you're trying to set out to create. And with these special effects and this particular short film with the alien involvement, I've been having a lot of fun doing that. It's funny, even like when I was shooting it, I was kind of acting with Stevie as the guy on the radio, and I had to dub it. And like, it's funny, I dubbed it with this mic, and like, I did things I wouldn't normally do, but, like, at this point, I'm at a point where too, like, like, production was such a heavy, like not a heavy toll, but it was weighing on me all the time. I was like, "Well, it's gotta look a certain way." Like, I've had some time to cool down since Peninsula Nights in terms of, like, just everything. Get my head straight, and I'm, like, looking at filmmaking, and I'm like, "You know what? Like, the best way to make a movie is the way I can make it right now, today, without fucking stressing myself out." And I would make another Peninsula Nights, and I do it the same way. It'd be easier if I had a couple extra hands on deck, but like I'm very proud of Peninsula Nights. I'm very happy with the way it came out. It feels like a classic. It feels like something that had a heavy weight to it, right? And I'm not saying the next thing won't, but like seeing what I got the other day, shooting this the other night rather, and then still editing it, which it'll be out soon. I got to find a name and everything for it. It shows me that it doesn't matter as much on how I make it or what I think it needs to be made on as much as just making something. And the power of making something is so important. And that's what I intend to do. So the alien short is what we're calling it now has been just like, going out and making it like Stevie and I, like our spirits are better. I can feel like a change in the, wind per se that like, yeah, like it reassured me like we're good at this. This is what we should be doing. Stay on the path, because like, yeah, like anybody, like you always get your fucking artistic, doubts and shit. There's no imposter syndrome. It's never that. It's just more about like, hey, juice worth squeeze. And like, I definitely think it is. And I think seeing what we're capable of, it just like, inspired me to just be like, fuck, like it's just a matter of getting back to work. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And he even said it today. We were driving around getting coffee and he's like, dude, like, I feel like something's about to happen, like in a good way, like something big. And I'm like, I agree. And sometimes like, I'm a big like visual manifestation type person. Like I see myself doing things or like put myself there. Um, and I can give a million examples, but sometimes it's good to imagine you're that person doing that thing that you want to do. Or like, I'll give you a broad stroke example. And I think I've mentioned this before. If there is a raffle at an event, I know I'm gonna win because I can see them calling my name. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm just like, they're gonna say Devin Thomas or they're gonna say my ticket number. I have won so many fucking raffles and so many fucking events. Like Stevie and I also went to like a couple like I think it was like a film mix or a real estate event. Dude, we won like 3 times in a row. We both won at one event. Both of us won at the same time. That's what I'm saying. And it's just like, it's just rigged. Are you trying to make me feel good? Or is this just, I think it's part of that. And I'm not saying it's all because of pre-visualization, but like if you want to do something, you got to imagine yourself. If you want to travel somewhere, you got to imagine yourself getting to the destination. I close my eyes when I do it. I think it's just like natural. I'm like literally visualizing. If I wanted to be in fucking, Prague right now, I'd close my eyes and be like, God, I can see myself going back to fucking, Prague. And I intend on that. I put it out there and I say it. And I almost like tell the fucking universe, like, that's what I'm going to do. And that's almost a form of affirmation as well. It's just like saying it. When I said like, I'm going to make a movie, I fucking said it all the time and I talked about it all the time. And I think I talked myself into doing it and I wanted to do it. I've always wanted to do it, but it's just part of that. Like, I don't know. It's just part of, I think, being a creative and stuff. You gotta imagine it. I've heard the Jim Carrey thing. He said he would go up on Mulholland Drive and like visualize his life and stuff. One of the things I love that he said too is that he wrote himself like a $10 million check. And he said like, 3 years later or something, he's like, I got like my first $10 million check. It's fucking crazy. But I think a lot of the biggest people or like just people that have a lot of success, they'll tell you the same thing. It's probably just a lot of visualization, thinking you are that person, that you deserve it, that you can make it happen. And it's not just like entitlement, like I deserve it. Is I'm going to do the work and I'm going to fucking put myself out there and I'm not going to care what people think. And I'm going to fucking try and make this happen for me and not just for me, for the betterment of everyone around me. Because when you do get success, you end up taking care of a lot more people than you think. And it's not because of people wanting it from you. It's because it's what, it's just like, I think it's morally like what you would want to do. You want to give it back because success is something that, I think when you get is fucking like, it's a wildfire. You don't know how long it'll last, but like, sometimes it burns for a long time. And the more you can give, the better, that's more on a philosophical note. Anyways, been really excited about filmmaking and really excited about this movie in particular. Stevie and I also said maybe it gives us ideas for a feature. I always think in feature. For me, short films, I look at short films and I think about writing them and I think of like, I told Stevie this, I write them almost like I'm writing the first scene of a movie. And for me, that's always been very easy for like me to make something. And that's not maybe going to be practical for all short films, But for me, I always like write it like a cold open. And that's kind of what this felt like. It felt like maybe I wrote it for a bigger feature. And also, like, I told Stevie, like, I'm at a point where, like, hey, maybe we can make a movie where we just go out every night for like a month and shoot, and I'll just cut something. And it's not even for the sake of having another project done so much as like I want to just I want to make as much stuff as possible. And that's really the fucking goal with filmmaking. It's just like constantly be making stuff. And like now that he's feeling better, I'm like, I feel it. Like I think our momentum and like I used the word velocity earlier, but like I think we're gonna be able to just continue to make. And like look, as far as like getting famous or having acclaim goes, how could you even attain that unless you are making stuff? That is the only way to put yourself out there. And like, I think, fame is a funny word because like, what is it? It's just being known for something. It's being known as maybe a filmmaker. You could be known as a famous runner who ran the Olympics. You could be, fucking Bruce Jenner. It just depends. Like being known though comes through achievement. It's never given. It's earned, and it's like the quote, power isn't, I think power is taken, not earned. Maybe it's not the same, but besides the point, my point is that reaping the benefits of any success or like, recognition comes through doing the work. And like, that's at the end of the day, it's like, well, then what am I worried about anything else? Fuck all the noise. Fuck all the social media bullshit. Fuck all the whatever. Fuck people's opinions. Fuck all that. What do I need to do to keep doing what I want to do? I got to do the work. And that's all that matters. Do the fucking work, stay focused, stay locked in, worry about yourself. And that's what I've been like feeling like lately. And especially moving forward, like I'm in a new chapter of life and a new version of me. And I think this version is thinking like, look, do the work and the rest will come with it. And just, do what you got to do in the meantime as well, but just do the work. And that's where I'm at. I'm excited to do more work. And the Alien short has certainly made me feel like we're propelling towards that. Let me get a little sip here. It's actually pretty hot this weekend. I forgot to mention this too. I got a media pass for Cali Roots. I'm gonna go over there and talk to some bands and stuff. Um, but I was in fucking Salinas the first half of the day and it was just hot as fuck. And then I get over to the peninsula and it's fucking like 30 degrees colder. It was just freezing. Clouds. I was picking up the pass and I was just like, dude, this is like, it's like bipolar weather. Anyways, I digress. Here it's hot. I'm fucking thirsty. And I think I've been doing this podcast in a different room too. And like low key, I get thirstier in this room. I don't know why. I know maybe that sounds fucking crazy, but maybe it's not that crazy. Anyways, to cap that last, I would call it a segment, but that last rant, I would just say that my growth as a filmmaker has been tremendous. And I'm really seeing it now because I'm going out and making something else. And I'm like, look, the first movie, it's like your first love is super serious. And like, it's the one you'll always remember. But like, and I'm not saying I won't remember the production on the next one, but I have so much liberty now to just go wild. To just do whatever I want and just not really give a fuck. Like I had so much pressure riding on me making the first film. And then because there was success, I felt like, holy fucking shit, like I got to do that again. Cause like I think you chase what works. But now it's been a while and I've had a lot of time to think and like, dude, I've changed a lot. And like, I think whatever I do next will be great because I'm going to be a great filmmaker. And that's what I'm focused on doing. Anyways, I will end that rant there with that little tidbit. Let me get a little bit more water, guys. I'm fucking parched. I should have brought bigger. I got this fucking mug too. Every fucking dish in the house is in the dishwasher. We haven't been really using anything, but most of our dishes are packed up. So like I'm drinking water out of a fucking coffee mug. And it's just like, I'm sorry. If you don't use a water glass to drink water and use a coffee mug, like water just doesn't taste good out of a coffee mug. I know that sounds fucking like the dumbest thing someone's ever said, but it's not meant for water. That fucking mug is meant for coffee and hot liquids. And no one can tell me otherwise. Maybe to beat some eggs if you don't have a bowl, but that's it. And otherwise, I think it should be illegal to drink fucking water out of it. All right, so I watched some great movies this week. Some really fucking great movies this week, actually. I'm excited to talk about the movies because I've been watching a lot of like good, but not even not great movies, but like just like I've been watching shit like I wouldn't normally watch. And that's been part of like the move. But the first movie I watched this week was Domestic Disturbance 2001. Director is Harold Becker, writer Louis Kolick, cinematographer Michael Saracen, John Travolta as Frank Morrison, Morrison. Vince Vaughn as Rick Barnes. Terry Polo as Susan Morrison. Terry Polo, interesting. She is actually Pam from Meet the Parents, which I fucking love Meet the Parents, and it's funny to see her in other movies because I think of her, I see her as like, it's Pam. There's no one else I identify her with. She plays the mom, and then Matt O'Leary as Danny Morrison. So it's an early 2000s suburban style thriller, kind of a family movie. It's interesting. So Travolta is divorced from Pam, the Terry, what's her name? Susan. Excuse me. It's Frank, Susan, and their son Danny. So Travolta is divorced. He owns a boat house, like his family's owned their entire life. They like craft handmade wood boats, but business is bad. And it kind of introduces that in the beginning. And then fast forward, it shows his son, him and the mom, Pam, whatever, they're headed to fucking his basketball game. The son's not there. And the coach is like, he came, but he left. And then it turns out he's at the police department. He gets a call and they go and pick up their son. The son's having problems because the mom is trying to marry a new guy, Vince Vaughn. And anyways, the mom's like, hey, like they're cool or amicable, but like, she's like, hey, like, would you mind like maybe taking like the boyfriend or fiance out on like a boat trip so like they can bond with you, show him that he's not a bad guy because like we're marrying each other anyways. Like, and Travolta's like, I don't really want to bond with your new husband and my son, but I will do it for you. And anyways, it seems like he's a seemingly good guy. They get married, and at the wedding, Steve Buscemi shows up, and he's like a friend from the past, and Vince Vaughn doesn't like it. It turns out Vince Vaughn isn't who he says he is, and this guy's gonna hold him accountable. He's like, hey, like you took all the money from like they're like, I don't know, bookies or something, right? There's some guys from Chicago that are doing crime. And Vince Vaughn has moved to this new town and acted like he's Mr. Like everyone in town knows him. He's a good guy, right? He's like the mobster who like tries to hide away and start a new life, but eventually it catches up with him. And the problem in the movie is that the son, Danny, doesn't like him. And he ends up witnessing Vince Vaughn kill Steve Buscemi, right? Because he tries to tell him, I got all your money. I'm going to pay you so you can go away. And the kid gets into the back of the car. Oh, also the mom gets pregnant. And that's when the kid goes over the line. He like hops in the back of the fucking Suburban and rides with Vince Vaughn unknowingly to the murder. He thinks he's going to be able to get to town and jump out and run to his dad's. He's like, I need to talk to dad after he finds out the mom's pregnant. So anyways, he witnesses the murder and then he goes straight to the police. And when he goes to the police, he like hops out of the car and goes to the police or whatever. And that's when Vince Vaughn gets called down to the police station. Travolta gets called down. The whole family gets called down. And they ask him if it's true. And then they're like, this kid's a liar. They already have a history of him like ditching basketball. They think he like makes shit up. He's got a little bit of a history with the local cop. So anyways, he tries to accuse Vince Vaughn. And then everyone's like, hey, like, look, this is because I just told him I'm pregnant and with Vince's son. And like, da, 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 da. The mom tries to explain to the cops, like, okay, this kid's already got problems. This is just pushing him further over the edge. Well, it turns out Vince Vaughn, like he knows that the kid saw him, goes to his room at night and like puts his hand over his mouth and says like, you're having a bad dream. He's like, you didn't see fucking shit. And really says like, don't press this. And he said, also, if you do anything, like I'll hurt your dad. And Travolta kind of doesn't believe the kid. He's like, Danny, you can't keep making stuff up. Like, I know it's hard for you. It's hard for me, but like they're married now. They're going to have a kid. Like, whatever. The mom also tries to talk him down and be like, hey, like you're not going to not be a priority in my life. But anyways, fast forward, Travolta ends up believing his son because he sees, he had seen Buscemi's character at, like the local restaurants. He met him at the wedding. He even addressed Vince Vaughn about it. He's like, who's your friend? So he was kind of onto it and he kind of believed it. And then he ends up kind of investigating it and he discovers that Vince Vaughn is lying. And he's like, I believe my son. But Vince Vaughn tells Danny, because they're gonna he's gonna try and get full custody of Danny, and Vince Vaughn's just like, hey, it's gonna fuck up my like relationship with the wife. So he threatens the kid again. He's like, hey, like you will lie at that fucking thing to get custody, because like Vince Vaughn or Travolta gets a lawyer. He's like, we're gonna have a custody battle and like try and get full custody. And Vince Vaughn's like, lie or I will fucking like kill your dad. And he just lies, and then Travolta looks like an idiot, and it starts like making him spiral. And the son starts pushing him away because he's like, I don't want you to hurt my dad. I guess I'll just push him away and give you what you want. And it's just fucking psychotic. It goes on. And in the end, Vince Vaughn gets made by the family. He tries to kill Travolta by burning down his boathouse. He like comes there at night and like hits him over the head. He thinks he's passed out. He ends up escaping, right? But when he escapes, he calls Like, here's the deal. He tries to kill Travolta at the boathouse, and he comes back home, and when he's at home, Pam doesn't know that, like, he's lying, and then the son says it like, "Hey, like, Dad's boathouse is burning down, whatever," and she goes into her bedroom, and she sees, like, Vince Vaughn trying to, like, heal himself from, like, a burn wound, and she's like, "Holy shit, he's not lying." But she plays him. She's like, "Hey, like, I heard the boathouse is burning down. I'm gonna take, our son to go and see his dad, right?" And he's like, "Okay," the Danny kid. He's like, "Danny and I are gonna go see if the dad's okay." And he's like, "Okay." He's thinking Travolta's dead. As they're like out in the car getting ready to leave the garage, he gets a call and it literally says like Frank Morrison. And he's like, "Holy fuck, he's alive." So that triggers him to go and chase the wife and the kid, Danny, into the garage. And then they have like a full on Travolta gets there and they fight, and like Vince Vaughn gets electrocuted. He dies. It's a great fucking movie. I hate to spoil the plot, but like I just felt like it needed to be explained. It was so good. It was so classic. It was one of those movies that, like, I'm surprised it's not more popular. Maybe it was a popular title in 2001, but like, look, I saw a lot of shit in the 2000s. I never heard of this movie. Maybe it was a sleeper hit. There's also so many good movies coming out in that time. So like maybe this one was just kind of like forgotten, but it was just a great domestic thriller. I know it's called Domestic Disturbance. I think that's a great name for it, right on the fucking money. But man, it was good. Travolta was so good. Vince Vaughn is chilling as a villain. He's a very dark presence when he wants to have it. The lady who played Pam, I guess her name's Terry Polo. Get that in there. Really good. And the kid, Matt O'Leary, that's Danny Morrison. Excellent. All the sub actors were good too. Everybody who was just, tied into it, it felt right. It felt perfect. Nothing was forced. 10 out of 10 movie. If you haven't seen it, still on Netflix, go and watch Domestic Disturbance. I couldn't recommend it more. Actually, I watched it 3 times. I watched it alone. I told Stevie, I'm like, we got to watch it. We watched it together. And then he watched it with Christine. And I kind of caught parts of it while they were watching it, but really, really good. One second here. All right. So the next movie I saw was fucking amazing. I actually went to theaters and I got to catch the Michael Jackson movie, Michael, 2026, director Antoine Fuqua, writer John Logan, cinematographer Dion Beebe, starring Jafar Jackson as Michael Jackson, Coleman Domingo as Joe Jackson, Nia Long as Catherine Jackson, and Miles Teller as John Brinka. What can I say? Like, look, I went to go see Michael with my mom because she was hounding me about it. And I was like, I do want to see it. I was like looking at the other stuff. I was like, I saw Project Hail Mary, and I was like, fuck it. Let's just go see it. I've heard so much, like, I've seen the critical reviews. They just absolutely shit on Michael. And then I see the fan reviews, and people are like, this movie's a 10 out of 10. Fuck the critics. Well, first of all, fuck critics. Like, they're going to talk shit either way. If they don't like it, they can have their little uppity opinion. This movie was fucking great. Jafar Jackson is Michael Jackson in the movie. He transforms into this motherfucker, and it was so good. It was just like, there's also the younger actor. I don't have his name, but the young Michael Jackson who plays him as a kid was phenomenal. He was truly a talented young actor. All the young actors were good, as a matter of fact. 'Cause they show the Jacksons in different parts of their lives, but particularly in the beginning, the first half or first quarter of the film, we see Jackson's life in 60s, 70s when he's becoming the Jackson 5. He's becoming Michael Jackson, the singer. So well done. Tough watch, honestly. The Coleman Domingo as Joe Jackson is haunting. Terrifying presence. I could only imagine how Michael Jackson must have felt growing up in a house like that. And you can feel it. Like, there's this palpable sense of, like, not just Michael, but like all of these kids were subjected to not a fun upbringing. They do give you Joe Jackson's side of why he felt like that might have been the out that he had, is that he knew that if he could get these kids to perform and train them and make them into the performers he wanted them to be, that he could have his, his like ticket out of the hood, per se, and they're from like Gary, Indiana. The dad's a steel mill worker. I'm sure people are familiar with Michael Jackson's story, but I wasn't that familiar with his earlier days personally. I knew Michael Jackson more in his like 90s to 2000s era, just based off of the culture at the time. And he was subjected to like a lot of criticism during the time that I was most familiar with him. So my perception of Michael Jackson wasn't negative. I always loved the music, but there was definitely a perversion of who he was as a human being due to the bad press, due to the conjecture, due to the lawsuits and all the stuff, which isn't mentioned in this film, but I'm sure will be in the sequel. I heard they've already greenlit a sequel, which I'm all for. It'd be phenomenal to see more of this character and more of this story. But yeah, the young actor was great. Joe Jackson was very good, and Coleman Domingo acts throughout the whole film. But Jafar Jackson, when they get to his part of Michael's story, and it's him in like the late 70s and the 80s, man, it was just so good. The story of how Michael Jackson became the Michael Jackson we all know was so different than what I understood it was. And I think if anything, I got a good sense of like his creative journey, his family dynamics, things that like you hear the stories and stuff, and obviously there's some people didn't participate in the film, so we're getting like I understand it's a narrative, fictionalized version of what happened, but there is truth in the fiction, and it's like largely rooted in the truth. And I think the family estate would want to probably keep within the bounds of like reality, and they don't want it to run away from them. I think I think the way they did it and the way they told the story, it was intimate enough that you really could connect with Michael Jackson as the person, not as just the artist. Like you saw his personal life and how he felt about getting famous and how he felt about disappointing his family and this and that. And I don't know, it was really a good pitch. You know, I know Sorkin talks about it. You can have the same story like Man Goes to Space, but there's 10 different pitches. Which is the right pitch? Man goes to space and meets tiny green men. Man goes to space and has an existential experience, even if like there's no extraterrestrial shit. Man goes to space to blow up a fucking meteorite, Armageddon. Like you get what I'm saying. This was the right pitch on like the Michael Jackson story. It wasn't like, oh, we're gonna just cover Michael Jackson like a scandal or a tour or like a courtroom drama, which they could go in so many directions with, even on the next one, right? But and from what I understand, they're going to keep a continuity between the two films in terms of like the way the story is told. I'm sure Antoine will be back to direct the sequel. But yes, this pitch was good. You really got a human perspective on who Michael Jackson is and his struggle as being a famous person, having to deal with family and having to deal with public scrutiny, fame, people in the business trying to get in his way. Miles Teller plays John Branca in the film, and man, he is an interesting actor. I'll tell you what, I'm a huge fan of Miles Teller. I've been following him since fucking the beginning, from Whiplash to fucking Spectacular now. I think he has always been an immense talent in the uprising of Hollywood. He's somebody who like he's probably on the top 10 list, I'd say, in like Hollywood's like bullpen of fucking male talent, 30 to 40. And man, he gets it. And his role in this movie was interesting. He plays like a talent manager of Jackson. And, he's the guy who ultimately replaces his father, Joe Jackson. And, he has a way with his like personality and acting that it feels authentic. I never watch him and think like, God, this guy is really like phoning it in. He just feels like he is the person he is portraying. And that maybe is his gift. I think I've seen him talk live. I saw Miles Teller talk when he was doing Whiplash, and he came to my school, and he was with J.K. Simmons, and they just talked about like he talked about how he got the role of Whiplash. And this is a fun story. I mean, I'll share it. I guess it's not my story, but it's his. He was talking about how when he went to do the Whiplash fucking what do you call it, audition, that it was at school, it was at NYU. And he's like, I got up, he's like, I took a couple bong rips and I got to class late, and they're like, hey, he got to class, and he's like, hey, they're gonna fucking let us read lines for this guy's movie after class. It was Damien Chazelle, right? So he said he went, and he's like, I went and read lines with the casting director. And he's like, I was so fucking baked, but he's like, I didn't really remember it, but he's like, I remembered the intention. And he's like, I just did it. And he's just like, hey, like, thanks. And he's like, I literally got a call back, and they're like, hey, like, I think we want to use you. And he was just like, this is fucking crazy. Like, it was just a one day after class going into audition, obviously he was like half baked. I don't even know if that matters as much as just like unprepared. Let's just say that, right? He was not in his best state of mind to be prepared for this. And you know what? I think he kind of said like not taking it so serious is sometimes easier. Just like kind of take it or leave it. Like, hey, like this is what I think it should be. If they don't want it, it's not me. It's not the right thing for this role. I think a lot of people with casting think like, what could I have done different? It's like, maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it's just not what they imagined. Maybe it's just not what they wanted. Directors, writers, producers, casting directors are looking for something. It has nothing to do with you. Of course, there's going to be the occasional bad actor or bad fucking like, hey, this is bad. But most of the time, I think like for your own like benefit, like it's really not you. It's just, hey, they weren't the right person. Even since the nights we were making it, one of my friends sent me a girl for a role, and I'm like, hey, dude, it's like, it's not her. It's just like, she's nothing like I imagine. I don't want this to feel out of tone, or out of pocket and not make sense. Anyways, I digress. The Michael Jackson movie, well casted, well done, just done with the utmost care as well. It was excellent filmmaking. I was entertained the entire time. If you are a fan of Michael Jackson, by the way, I'm a fan. The fucking music is just insane. You want to go and slap Michael Jackson records again. You want to just discover the music, and it was nice. It reminded me a lot of how I felt after watching Elvis. Elvis was a little bit more removed for me because I wasn't like I knew some of Elvis's hits, but I was not an Elvis fan. After watching the movie, I'm like, fuck, I get it now. Like why people are like Elvis is the king of pop. And I get why Michael Jackson's the fucking king of pop too. You know, like these motherfuckers, truer. I guess Elvis was the king of rock and roll, but look, king of pop, king of rock and roll, they're both kings, right? Fuck it. Anyways, Michael, 10 out of 10. I couldn't recommend it more. If it's still in theaters, go see it. I wish I had a copy to stream. I'd watch it a couple times again. I just enjoyed it. It was a chill movie, good story, good fucking period of time. You could tell the world was different back then too. Even though it's fictionalized and it's shot today in 2026, it feels like the past. And they did such a good job at capturing that moment in time. And Jafar Jackson, I saw him do a little presser on, I think it was not Letterman, it was on fucking our boy Fallon, Jimmy Fallon, and he was talking about how he's like, I never acted. He's like, I grew up golfing. I grew up being very different. And he's like, when I actually got the opportunity, he said when he saw the movie come up in the press, like, hey, they're making the Michael Jackson movie, he goes, I wonder who's going to play him. He's like, I was not thinking it'll be me. He's like, I was not an actor. He's like, I started doing some music and production stuff. He's like, it's like, that was just something I was doing. He's like, and sometime after the movie got announced, he's like, I got a call from Anton Fuqua's camp, and he's just like, I cannot fucking, he's like, I knew right away what they wanted. And he's like, I can't fucking believe this. And he's like, I had to audition for 2 years. I had to fucking go and learn dance moves, learn how to, do the voice, do all the things, how to act just to get it. And he's like, after 2 years, he's like, I earned it. And the younger actor said the same thing. I saw him in a dual interview, and it was not just given, like he earned that role. And to be honest, like if he had told me he had been acting his whole life, I would have been like, it makes sense. He is a phenomenal actor. He is never making you feel the break of the suspension of disbelief. You just believe he's Michael Jackson. And look, there's a lot of Michael impersonators out there. I think everybody knows it. It's been like a thing forever, probably, but he really did a good job. Like sincerely, great fucking job. So anyways, Michael 2026, 10 out of 10, go see it. Couldn't say enough good. I watched this movie Undertone 2025. I rented it on Amazon Prime. Stevie and I wanted to watch it. It's about a podcaster who gets involved with like let me tell you who's in it first. We'll get into it. All right, Undertone 2025. Director, writer Ian Tucson, cinematographer Graham Beasley, cast Nina Curie as Evie, Adam DeMarco as Justin, Michelle Duquette as Mama, and Kenya Lynn Bastidas as Jessa. There's also another character named Mike, not listed here, but I must have forgot. Whatever. So Undertone. It's a girl who does a podcast long distance with her friend who lives in Europe, and she does like an investigative kind of podcast called Undertone that looks into like creepy stuff and like I wouldn't call it supernatural, but like stuff that just creepy, maybe supernatural, maybe a murder, etc. And Justin, the other guy, is like her. I guess he's her ex, and they haven't seen each other in 5 years or something. But they do the podcast, and like you can tell, like she's dating this other guy who wants her to like hang out more, but she's been taking care of her mom who's sick, right? So she's been at home doing the pod, taking care of her sick mom who's like close to death while doing this long distance podcast with Justin. And they kind of feel like they're reconnecting a little bit. Like she asks about his relationship. He's like, oh, like it's good. And then he asks about hers and she's like, yeah, like I'm still seeing him, but like, I don't know. I've been really focused on my mom. And like the guy is almost like a little thirsty for her. Like he's trying to pry the door back open to get with her. You can just feel it. But anyways, for the episode, they get these like this email from a random like person, and it has 10 files of audio that are all mysterious, like voice recordings and stuff. And like they listen to them, and like every time they listen to them, they do it over like a course of a week or like 2 weeks. They're like listening, maybe a few weeks, but they're doing their episode and they're listening. And like each time she starts feeling weird, she's like, I just can't continue with this. And then weird stuff's happening to her mom. And like, I don't want to ruin the movie, but just watch it. Like, a lot of weird stuff happens, and it all boils up to an explosive ending. I really don't want to ruin this because this is a new one. Like Domestic Disturbance, like look, I can ruin it. It's an '01 movie. This one's new though. But anyways, it's a modern horror, A24 style. The girl is kind of like dealing with her own issues while doing the podcast. And this particular, like these like voice files and stuff start bringing out the worst in her. Weird stuff starts happening around the house, supernatural vibes, and it all boils up, like I said. Talk about production. Really well shot. Clean, squeaky. I do think that squeaky clean production where everything's on a Ronin and everything's just so like flawless is like low key a style that's getting a little tired out. I don't think it's bad. I've been guilty of it myself. I love it. I think people be floating cameras till the end of time. But personally, I do think like there is something like natural and authentic about like cameras just being handheld or on like a shoulder. And I think things are going to start moving back towards that. Not 100%, but like for some things. But it was well fucking made. Uh, they used a lot of sound design because it's a podcast, and like it was cool. It definitely gets you to jump. I had no problem with that. The actual like production, everything was really, really good. Like 10 out of 10. The story, when it was scary, was super fucking scary. When it wasn't, it was kind of like, okay, like it could have had some dry spots where it was a little atmospheric, a little like slow. But this is nitpicking at this point, right? In the ending, I don't want to ruin it, but like it definitely left you like kind of being like, "Oh, is that the conclusion like that you want to go with?" It left you wanting maybe a little bit more. Maybe they'll make another one. I don't know. And that's not to say this one will have a sequel, but like obviously there's a story there that could be spun, right? Let's say that. Overall, I did like it. It's hard to talk about this one without giving away a tremendous amount of information about what the film is about. But for a modern horror, it's funny because I've only seen a couple movies about podcasters. I think there's that BJ Novak movie. The name of it's escaping me right now, where he goes on like a kind of like a hunt to find out the truth about. I think a girl he like hooked up with, and then like was a fan of his podcast. He hears that she was murdered in like Texas and goes looking to see what happened. And Tusk, Kevin Smith's movie, where the podcaster goes to Canada to find a good story and ends up in if you haven't seen it, a crazy fucking situation. Very good movie. You should go check it out if you haven't seen it. That's Tusk. But this one capped on the modern podcasting like angle and did it with the horror, and I think it did pretty well. I was impressed, and would I watch it again? Maybe. I think that the problem with this movie wasn't the production. It was none of that. And the story was honestly fine. It got a little confusing. They tried to put too much lore into the movie. And I said this about like earlier iterations of like slashers, like the ones that started the franchise, like the early Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first one. There's zero fucking explanation of what's going on. You're in some fucking crazy, creepy fucking person's house. That's what's going on. And you fucking are just there experiencing the craziness. Same with Friday the 13th. Like, who's the killer? It doesn't even fucking really matter. And they do a great reveal at the end that it's Pam Voorhees. But my point more so is that it was simple. They weren't building too much lore. This one felt like they're really trying to build a lot of lore. And you know what movie kind of did the same thing, but did it a little bit more understated? Was Together, the Dave Franco movie with Alison Brie. They was a little less aggressive with trying to build the like character in the story, but yet there was still this like backstory. There's nothing wrong with the backstory, but don't make it too much for the audience to digest, or make a sequel and to give them time to consume it in parts, because an information driven film can often feel less entertaining and more like a fucking history lesson. And like, I don't think this movie did that entirely, but I do think it had some element of that where it felt like it was trying to do a little too much explaining about what was going on and who the character was. Another movie that might have kind of done this is movie Presence, the Steven Soderbergh movie, but these movies had a similar tone, not the same, but I felt like a similar tone, and they kind of do some of the same things. This movie, though, particularly explained way too much lore about the character I won't name, but like the mysterious character in the film. Anyways, I digress. Undertone, I won't even give it a numerical rating because I don't want to hurt the film, but it was good. I don't know if I'd watch it again. It left me wanting, there's parts of it that were really like, I was like literally like, fucking, this is scary as fuck. Like literally, like it got the intensity. It felt like there was something off about the movie. I also thought it was going to be about aliens because they show in the artwork like this like shadowy figure, and like where did this ever come into play? And Stevie and I were both kind of pissed because we're like, I thought this was something else. It was good though. I can't hate on it. Like for what it's worth. Like if I had seen it in a theater, I'd be like, all right, it was good. Anyways, I digress. Undertone, go check it out. Maybe wait for it to be free. I paid like $25 for it. All right. No, actually we rented. It was going to be $25 to watch it home, but we paid like $9.99. So either way, it's not a tremendous amount of money, but it's like whenever you pay for something, you're like, all right, well, was it worth it? And it was. It was fine. All right. I watched one last movie, and we finished this last night. In the Line of Fire, 1993. An oldie but a goodie. Director Wolfgang Peterson, writer Jeff McGuire, cinematographer John Bailey, cast Clint Eastwood as Frank Horrigan, John Malkovich as Mitch Leary, and Renee Russo as Lily Raines. It's a political thriller. It's classic. It's classic Clint Eastwood. You could have told me Eastwood directed it. I would have believed it. Wolfgang Peterson, like, look, I can't tell you all the movies he's directed, but I certainly know one of his best movies, Das Boot. One of the most intense movies I've ever seen. It's about submarines, U-boats, World War II, and it's from the German perspective, the Nazi perspective. And Peterson himself is a German, and I think I consider the film an homage to the European point of view on the U-boats, but like it was fucking insane. Just anyone who was doing that shit during that time, during that war was no good for anyone. And it was fucking terrifying. I cannot believe they're putting fucking people in these little boats underwater. But anyways, if you haven't seen Das Boot, go watch it. It's an absolute classic. It's all in German, so that's a little bit of a drag. But you throw on the subs, it's like watching like anything like Korean movie or something. But probably one of the best submarine movies I've ever seen. And maybe one of the better World War II movies I've seen, but it's not. It's no Saving Private Ryan. It's all underwater. It just shows you how shitty that lifestyle was, how intense it was, and also like the ending is fucking just like when you see it, I cannot fucking believe this ending. Like I watched that movie late at night one night and just it hit so fucking hard. And that was like kind of, I'd say, like I've seen In the Line of Fire many times. I didn't know it was Wolfgang Peterson, but like when I went on IMDb, I'm like, oh, Wolfgang Peterson. I'm like, oh, I know Das Boot. That's like his movie I know. And like that movie's a classic. Like for what it's worth, it's fucking intense. Like you got to watch it. You got to see it. Very interesting film. Crazy ending. Like some movies, like especially back in the day when they have an ending that you're like not expecting, it just really like I can only imagine what the audience thought at the time. Anyways, I'm not here to talk about Das Boot as much as Wolfgang Peterson's film In the Line of Fire, which was amazing. So the premise of In the Line of Fire is Clint Eastwood is an aging Secret Service agent who was on the Kennedy detail during the shooting of Kennedy in 1963. And he's working with a newer agent, and like there's a cold open where he fucking, it's funny, the actor's Jigsaw, but like he's like a arms dealer or something, and they take him out to a boat, and like his partner almost gets killed. They put a bag over his head, the young agent, and like Clint gets him out of it, but barely. And he's kind of reflecting. He's like, God damn, is like my time up as a Secret Service agent? Like, how could I protect the president if I could hardly protect my partner? He starts having those philosophical thoughts of like, maybe it's time for me to call it a day. And he meets this chick, what was her name? Lily Raines, Renee Russo. She's awesome. She was great in the film. Lily and Frank, Clinton, Renee here. They start a romance throughout the film. She's on the campaign for this guy. I think his name's Traveler. That's the president that's running. And we follow him on a campaign and how he is trying to, he's a security, obviously Secret Service, right? But during the campaign, there's John Malkovich's character who, Larry, who is trying to assassinate the president. And in the film, his character follows him to fucking events. He follows the president, but he also follows fucking Frank. He's obsessed with Clint Eastwood's character, Frank, because he knows he was there on the day Kennedy got shot and that he failed to protect him. Obviously, Kennedy dies. We know that. But that's what he like harasses him about. And then this fictionalized version of this Secret Service agent, Frank Horrigan. Sorry, I keep looking over to see the name. Frank Horrigan. Clint's character, Frank Horrigan, is subject to this guy's harassment, being like, hey, like you fucked up. That's why Kennedy's dead. And like, how do you expect you can protect this next president? He's almost playing a game with them. Clint investigates the guy. There's, the back and forth cat and mouse, finds out the guy is like an ex-CIA agent, an assassin. And you can tell Malkovich also is like one of these guys. He's got this voice and this distinctness about him that's very sophisticated. It almost feels very intellectual. You believe he is a sophisticated CIA killer who's way more capable than the average, just like shooter. And the movie is just so intense, so well made. Wolfgang Peterson's direction is fucking flawless. Like I said, it could have been Clint directing behind the camera. The script was tailored in a way that felt authentic. And Clint, he's got his own brand, and his acting is so powerful that you feel like this was a script that like Clint was like in mind for sure. And also, like I told Stevie, this is a script that could have only really been made at that time, like culturally, and especially for Clint. Like you can make a timepiece or an agent who was trying to protect Kennedy is like in his aging years, but like it had to be made at this time, like this 30-year mark from the 60s. And like it really made a lot of sense. It's like, 30 years after the Kennedy assassination, he's doing this, and Clint Eastwood's the guy. And like it just made sense. And the movie was very on time, and it was so well done. And the thing is like Clint Eastwood's such an interesting actor. He feels like, Stevie and I say this all the time, like some of the best actors are guys that just look like your local rich guy or like the local guy from your town, like the coach or something. Like they feel like just like a dude, And those oftentimes are like the biggest actors. Like Clint Eastwood, like objectively speaking, sure, does he really look like your actor type? Fuck no. But he certainly can act, and he is just a huge fucking presence on the screen. And he embodied this character. You could feel that he also knew where he was in his career. He's like, oh, I'm an aging actor. Maybe I'll play the aging Secret Service agent. And I mean, this is 1993, still going. So like aging, like what does that mean for him? But it made sense. He really, really played the character well. The dynamic between him and Malkovich's character, Larry, was insane. Malkovich also, like, he was so committed to this role. You believe this guy is a psychopath. You believe he's the shooter type. And it was just fucking eerie and fucking, quite frankly, frightening to know that there is somebody out there capable of that. Anyways, I digress. I really loved In the Line of Fire. It's another 10 out of 10 film. Wolfgang Peterson, like I said, just a master behind the camera. Editing was good too. One thing I tell Stevie all the time about old movies, and like he gets it too, but they just cut to the next thing. Like not everything is just like crazy transition or this or that. Sometimes minimalism is the best thing you can do, and just letting it happen, let it just organically come out and cut to the next thing or whatever, not trying to be too fancy. And like, there's a sense of restraint when you can do that makes things really great, and a sense of maturity too. I think when you're young, you really want to prove yourself with like how crazy it looks. And then like, Wolfgang Peterson's over here like, okay, well, let's make sure the shot makes sense. And like, it's just funny. The medium I've been filming on lately feels so much like we saw a shot in the movie, and Steve and I both looked at each other. I'm like, that looks a lot like what we just shot. And I don't know, we just got a whole new perspective on filmmaking right now, which is really good. I'm loving it. Let me grab the old filmmaker's mindset. I'll cap that really quick. In the Line of Fire, 1993, Wolfgang Peterson, Clint Eastwood, John Malkovich. Go watch it. It's an absolute fucking banger. It's a movie that I will fucking continue to watch. And it was not the first time I'd seen it, but like whenever I watch something that I sit down and watch the whole thing and it feels fresh, I'm going to talk about it. So I know I talked a lot of movies this week. I don't even know where we're at time-wise, but I had to talk about them. It's also been like 10 days. So like, it feels like way longer. I feel like I've watched way more shit than I normally watch. Let me look for a good one out of here. Filmmaker's Mindset, by the way. Look, I'm not hawking it. I'm not grifting. But if you want to buy it, it's on Amazon, Gumroad. I got the digital copy on Gumroad. Printed copy like this is on Amazon. I'm not making a ton of money on these. This is really like, I read this book and like Stevie and I talked about it. It's like the type of book I wish I would have had 10 years ago, because it would have like, especially 10 years ago, I used to take advice so strongly, and I still do when I hear something that I think is worth, programming and being like, that's something I could live my life by, especially like stoicism and shit. Some of this shit's so timeless. Like there's always someone out there with good advice, but the filmmaker mindset for me, like would have been helpful just to get me out of my head. Cause I was so caught up in like, maybe it was film school blood, but like, we have to do it this way. We have to do it this way. And it was funny, cause like, I always was looking to the guys who didn't do it that way and thought like, how did they make it? And that's gotten me where I am today, but I digress. Filmmaker mindset. Let's get one of these fucking, bad boys out here. I'm looking at this. Here's two, and these ones go well together. I'm developing my craft daily. Everything I'm doing is part of the process. I love that. I am patient with my progress. Rushing doesn't help. Okay. I'm developing my craft daily. Literally what I was talking about this episode. Look, I'm just opening these up at random. What I was talking about in this episode, I'm editing every day now because I have something I filmed, because I went out and I did the work. And now I'm practicing the skill every day. I'm not, no idle hands. I'm fucking up in that shit. I'm fucking working. I'm making it happen. I'm learning the skills and keeping them fresh, and like not just like letting them like fall by the wayside. I'm learning new things about editing every single time. I'm doing sound design. I've been doing so much shit that I wouldn't normally do on a shoot just because of the nature of what I shot. Something that's more science fiction driven, more special effects driven. And yeah, the progress also, it's like, I don't remember the second one, but it's whatever about progress. It's like, it's all progress. It's all experience. It's all driving me forward. And like, I've talked about failure. This isn't a failure in this case. So like, going out and making mistakes and doing all that, it's gotten me where I'm at. I'm not saying I can't fail again. I'm not saying I won't fail again. I'm saying I have so much more confidence in direction because I have gone out and done this before. Going out and doing it again is like riding a bike. I'm back better than ever, stronger than ever. And the progress I'm making, even with this edit, is just more progress to put into my fucking archive of fucking experience. I have gone out and done the work. You can go out and do the work. You just got to go do it. And this isn't like, I know this is a film podcast mostly, and like the relevance though to what I'm saying, it could be in any part of your life. If you're a great runner, just go out and do the work. You want to be the best fucking athlete, go out and do the work. Just fucking lift and train and run and fucking do what you got to do. It's whatever you want to do. You want to be the best baker, bake every fucking day. Make a little ball of dough every night and fucking cook it up the next day. Like, work on your craft in whatever capacity you can. Don't make excuses. Don't fucking sit around. Don't sloth. Get to work. Go make it happen. That's what you can do. And if you do that, working on the craft every day, that's the progress. That's the experience. I digress. Sorry, I'm a little passionate about these things because I want to see everyone succeed. I want to see everyone win. And I know that it all starts with you doing the fucking work. So anyways, that's my guru moment for the episode. I think today's Saturday. I think I'm gonna hit Cali Roots. And if I don't, maybe tomorrow. I did some press yesterday and that was cool. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on here. I had to shoot the pod. I was starting to feel guilty. I'm like, I can't not shoot the pod. I got to do it. And yeah, I'm glad I came out here and banged it out. This is a good pod. Honestly, I feel like it might have been a little long. I have no idea. I don't have a clock or anything in this fucking space, but yeah, I had fun. I hope you had fun too. I hope you enjoyed listening. I think this is episode 64, and like, it's just crazy. Like, even seeing the episodes stack up, it's weird because this has become kind of like a audio diary. Stevie says it all the time. It's like, you can go back and listen, but it's just like, that's what I was doing this week. If I go back and listen to this episode, I'm gonna know this is when I was moving. This is when I was doing that. That was like Cali Roots weekend. This was that weekend or week I shot the short. And like, I actually love this because I never wanted to blog, but like capturing it in this format, this is the format for me to actually capture this. Anyways, I digress. I could talk all day about the podcast and shit, but we got other shit to do. Anyways, guys, I'm Devin Thomas, and this has been another episode of Unscripted. I'll talk to you all next week.